If you want to craft a cafe-quality cappuccino at home, you have two paths: a velvety, heavy, wet style, or an airy, stiff, dry style. To get started, you need an espresso machine with a steam wand, cold whole milk, a stainless steel pitcher, and a freshly tamped espresso shot. The secret here isn't the beans or the brand of milk you use. The difference between a wet and a dry cappuccino comes down entirely to how you build the internal architecture of the milk itself. Applying precise heat and motion triggers hydrolysis, breaking complex lactose into simpler, sweeter sugars. This chemical change produces a perceptibly sweet profile without a single grain of sugar. Step 1 is the base. Dose 14 to 15 grams of coffee into a filter basket. Tamp it firmly to create a solid puck, and start your extraction. We are aiming for a 25 to 30-second pull. Watch the liquid as it pours. You are looking for a total yield of 50 milliliters, and the flow should look heavy and smooth, like warm honey dropping from a spoon. A successful extraction will leave you with this exact result: a thick, golden brown layer of crema resting right on top of the dark liquid. Make sure you are brewing directly into a preheated cup. Pulling hot espresso into cold ceramic drops the temperature and compromises the integrity of the shot. Now move straight to the steam wand. Turn it on for a few seconds over your drip tray. This clears any trapped water condensation so it doesn't get pushed directly into your cold milk. Place the tip of the wand just barely beneath the surface of the milk. Position it slightly off-center and tilt your pitcher so the wand sits at a 45-degree angle. If you drop the wand dead center into the pitcher, the air has nowhere to travel. The milk won't move, and you fail to generate the circular fluid motion required to break down large, clumsy bubbles. A properly extracted shot and precise wand geometry give you the required foundation. Miss the extraction time or center the wand, and you ruin the final flavor profile before you even introduce a single bubble of air. Phase 1 of steaming is called aeration, or stretching. Turn your steam up to full power and slowly lower the pitcher a fraction of an inch to let air slip into the milk. If you are making a wet cappuccino, hold this position for exactly 4 to 6 seconds. Listen closely. You want to hear a soft, consistent sound like paper tearing. This side-by-side schematic shows what happens next. For a wet cappuccino on the left, the liquid level rises moderately. But for a dry cappuccino on the right, you lower the pitcher further and stretch the milk for 8 to 10 seconds. The volume expands massively as large pockets of air force their way into the liquid. Throughout this process, keep your hands completely locked in place. Pumping the pitcher rapidly up and down injects wildly inconsistent bubble sizes into your milk. Once you hit your time target, you move to phase 2, texturing. Raise the pitcher slightly to bury the wand tip about 3/4 of an inch deep. That tearing sound should stop entirely. Pushing the tip deeper catches the milk in a rapid whirlpool, or vortex. The physical force of this spin crushes the larger air bubbles into a tight, smooth texture. Keep your free hand flat against the side of the metal pitcher. The moment the steel becomes too hot to comfortably hold for more than 1 second, turn the steam off. That tactile feedback tells you the milk has hit its optimal range, landing exactly between 130 and 150 degrees Fahrenheit. Let the temperature cross the 160-degree threshold, and the milk proteins permanently denature. The foam collapses, and the natural sweetness is instantly replaced by a harsh, sulfuric taste. First things first, purge your steam wand one more time and wipe it clean with a damp cloth so the milk doesn't bake onto the metal. Next, give the bottom of your pitcher a firm tap against the counter. The physical shock forces any remaining large gobbles trapped at the surface to pop. If you are finishing a wet cappuccino, keep the pitcher moving. Swirl the milk continuously so the liquid and air stay perfectly mixed, creating a glossy texture that looks like wet paint. Execute the pour with one steady, continuous motion direct down the center of the cup. The speed forces the microfoam to dive under the crema and fully integrate together with the dark espresso. For a dry cappuccino, the handling is exactly the opposite. Set the pitcher on the counter and leave it completely untouched for 30 seconds. During this pause, gravity goes to work. The airy macrofoam floats to the top, physically separating itself from the denser, hot liquid milk underneath. Grab a spoon and hold the foam back while you pour a small splash of the hot liquid milk into your espresso. Then use that same spoon to heavily scoop the stiff, meringue-like foam right onto the top. Your grooming and pouring choices finalize the texture profile. You either fuse the ingredients into one heavy, velvety liquid or separate them into stark, highly contrasting layers. Pick up both cups. The wet cappuccino feels dense and heavy in your hand, while the dry cappuccino feels surprisingly light. This cross-section shows exactly why. The wet style follows the traditional rule of thirds, equal parts espresso, milk, and foam. The dry style drastically skews that ratio, combining 1 part espresso with just a half part milk and 2.5 parts thick foam. The drinking experiences highlight the mechanical differences. The wet style gives you a sweet, fully integrated flavor from the very first drop. The dry style forces you through a thick, foamy insulator before hitting you with an isolated, robust punch of espresso. By managing these thermal limits and the physical separation of the foam, you can now reproduce specific cafe textures at home. Let us know in the comments which style you prefer.